G.I. Joe Retaliation was going to be released last year, 2012. Pushed back about 9 months. Apparently so they could convert it to 3D. And then there were a bunch of rumors that they were just going to film some new scenes for Channing Tatum because of his success due to 21 Jump Street and Magic Mike, and I think it's called The Vow. That's the other movie. So before I get into my notes here, which I have quite a few of, I was really looking forward to this sequel. Like the last couple weeks I was getting pumped up for it, getting ready for it. They've had like 5 trailers, a couple TV spots, and I really like The Rise of Cobra. And what worried me is that this reboot/sequel wasn't really going to follow the major events that took place in Cobra in the first movie. But the action sequences I heard were fantastic. It's getting pretty mixed reviews. It sounds like, a good popcorn flick, mindless entertainment. So this movie is everything I wanted it to be. It's everything I thought it would be. It's about an hour and 40 minutes long, and this movie is fantastic. This is a great sequel. Maybe the best reboot sequel ever. It's pretty clever how they did it. So to begin, Destro. I asked a couple people if he was even referenced in this movie, if he was shown. Because you remember at the end of Cobra, him and Cobra Commander are taken prisoner. They're like right next to each other in these tanks. Preservation tanks, whatever you want to call them. And he is in this movie. I'll get more into that in just a bit. Duke's death takes place 20 minutes into the film. Him and The Rock have really good chemistry. The jokes between them, they're cheesy, but they're just funny. They put him in just the right moments. And I think Duke went out with a bang, literally. He saved Flint. And I figured his death would come like right at the beginning. But the ambush happens, like I said, 20 minutes in. So Destro and Cobra are both still in the tanks. Not in the underwater location still, like at the end of the first movie. But they're in this secure location. Storm Shadow in the Snake Eyes outfit. No, I did not see that coming at all. That was really good. Firefly. Great entrance. I was watching the press conference, and I think it's Ray Stevenson who plays Firefly. He said that was probably the best entrance he's ever been given in a movie. Maybe will ever be given. And I couldn't agree more. It was an explosive entrance, I'll just say that. So when Storm Shadow breaks out Cobra Commander from the tank, Cobra says, he looks at Destro over his tank, and I think he says something like, "Destro, you're out of the band." I was like, out of the band? I didn't even go back to listen again, because I was like, that's pretty much what it sounded like. I'm not sure why he turns his back on him. I think they already had too many characters, or not too many, but plenty of characters in this movie. Destro, they wouldn't have had much for him to do. I like the 11-bed, 35-bathroom joke from the president from Zartan. Is it RZA who played the Blind Master? I think it was great. I heard that people laughed when they first saw him, but I didn't at all. I mean, especially you got Snake Eyes and Jinx there. It's like, why would you be laughing during this scene? Great performance. I think that's the same guy who was in American Gangster, part of Richie's crew. The action is fantastic in this movie. Big Marvin, that was a good scene. I kind of knew they already knew each other. I mean, they do that in quite a few action movies. They're like, "What are you doing here?" "Just passing through." "No, you're not." "Oh, yeah?" And they're like, "Oh, what's up, old buddy?" Flint is annoying, doesn't follow orders. He doesn't move his frickin' eyebrows, just like Channing Tatum. That's one of the things I have a problem with. Like in the first movie, Channing, even when he's yelling, his eyebrows are just still. He shows no emotion. This guy does the same frickin' thing. it's like he showed up and he's like, yeah, this movie's gonna suck, nobody's gonna watch it. I'm just gonna say my lines and that's it. Move your frickin' eyebrows, man. Gosh. So when Roadblock, Lady J, and Flint, when they're trying to find out what's going on, gathering all the clues and that, Lady J points out that Zartan is the president. You know, his body's physical movements and that, and some of his speech are different from the actual president. So I thought back to Cobra, the first movie. Didn't Zartan study this guy for like years? I remember right before he went in for the surgery, that's what he said, something like that. So I thought it was kind of odd that he wouldn't pick up all the different movements and the speech patterns if he was training for years for this role. But, you know what, they gotta find out what's going on, they gotta find out quick, so just chop to it, I guess. Laugh out loud at Brenda. I think Kevin Smith would have kind of liked that. You seen, what was it? I was Mallrats. There's a scene in there. You're gonna have to find it, but you'll understand. The Snake Eyes Storm Shadow fight, the whole mountain action sequences, excellent. I can imagine those would look fantastic in 3D. Again, Flint, so boring. See, I wrote that down twice. That's how boring he is. LOL at damn ninjas. Roadblock thinking he's a bit faster than Snake Eyes. Nope. Let's see. Oh, when, so this is a bit of a spoiler. So I didn't know who did it, but I knew that Storm Shadow wasn't the one responsible for his master's death. You know, they didn't show it in the first movie who actually killed him. And when they find out that it was Zartan, that surprised me. I did not see that coming at all. It was great to see Storm Shadow, I won't say join the Joes, but fight with them. Him and Snake Eyes fighting back to back and all that. That was really nice to see. The I want it all line from Cobra. Used before, but Cobra's just a badass. He's just walking around like a pimp. He could say anything, I guess. I like the weapon supply at Joe's house. General, call me Joe. Yippee-ki-yay. He had quite an arsenal there. I like how he had, grenades in the fruit and in the fruit bowl. He had just tons of ammunition. About an hour and 20 minutes in, it seemed like the final act was going to get going. I was getting really pumped up. I was like, all right, we got about 20 minutes of nonstop action coming up. About an hour and 30 is when the action really starts. Kind of feels rushed. I think with a couple bigger action sequences, this movie would have done even more better. The nuclear war, pretty smart plan by the president. I'm not sure if that's what Stephen Sommers and the writer for the first one, if it was a different writer, if that's what they had planned for this one. But it works, and it was nice to see Zartan really come out in that scene. This movie was directed by John M. Chu. He directed the Step Up movies, which I've heard the cinematography for is really, really great for all the movies. I think he directed the second and the third, but he was a great choice to direct this movie. I watched an interview with him. There's a YouTube channel called The Hot Button. The interviews are called DP30, and they do an interview with John Chu. And he talks about his love for the franchise, why he wanted to get into it, his history with G.I. Joe, and really fascinating stuff. This is a great action movie. Let me just check over my notes here. They kind of hinted at Lady J and Flint, maybe possible romance. Like, there's one scene where she gets out of the red dress, gets into her normal clothes. I think right at the end of that scene, he gives her a look, And I was like, that's the best performance he gave in the whole movie. It's like he finally moved his eyebrows, showed some emotion in that. I guess, I don't even know if a different actor would have done a better job, really. I mean, the role of Flint, it's like, doesn't follow his orders, gets into trouble, gets Duke killed, nice going. But even a different actor would have been like, oh, these are my lines? Okay. Not given a lot to do. There are 2 fights with Firefly and Roadblock. The first one's really good. The second one, I really like that. I think it's called Gun Kata, or Gunnerati, whatever you call it. Not making fun of it, just trying to remember the name. But that was a good fight. Of course, you got The Rock holding up the detonator. Classic. People wouldn't do that in real life, just walk around and hold up the detonator like that. You gotta do it for the audience, you know? So, like I said, the last 10 minutes of the movie, we get all the action. I got The Rock in his big tank vehicle, blowing stuff up. It was a good finale. Not very memorable, but still good. I mean, again, they saved the world in just the nick of time. And I was watching it. It's like an hour and 39. I'm like, oh my gosh, are they not going to accomplish this? Spoiler alert. So Cobra escapes in a helicopter. Or I wouldn't really say escapes, I guess, because, well, I think it was Flint that was shooting at the chopper. But you figure they'd have like a sniper rifle or something. Or a rocket launcher to take out that chopper. But I'm glad that there's going to be a G.I. Joe 3. That got the green light just recently, I think yesterday. And Cobra, I mean, we still got Cobra forces around the world, I figure. I know they had that underwater base in the first movie, but then they detonated the ice packs, so I'm not sure. I'll have to watch that again, I guess. But I'm sure he has some friends around the world. Oh, and another thing. So when the Joes are apparently, when all of them are killed off, I'm not sure that's accurate. So we got some ground troops that were killed, obviously. Remember the scene when Roadblock dumps all the ID tags on Joe's table? But you remember in the first movie, the pit, the HQ of the Joes, at least for that movie. I don't recall seeing any damage done to that place. You know, that was in the deserts, underneath the desert. It seems like this was just an airborne attack, an aerial assault, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I don't think they killed off all the Joes. They killed a lot of them. But you remember, like in the first movie, we had our team of, 5 or 6 Joes? So it kind of makes sense for this one that we get a different team. We follow a different team of Joes. I don't know if Stephen Sommers would have wanted to go in that direction. Maybe if the first movie had done better, they'd use, Ripcord and all of them for this movie. But I think there are plenty of Joes still alive. I just thought it was kind of odd. I mean, obviously they're not going to show all the characters from the first movie getting killed, except for Duke. But at least show the pit being attacked, But lots of explosions in this movie. Big loud explosions, great action sequences. Cinematography is spot on. Bruce Willis is Joe. You know what? I think Bruce, it seems like he had a fun time making this, but I'm glad he stuck with a serious tone, even when he's delivering the jokes in that. Like when he's calling Lady J Brenda, and then he says, I want her on my team. He's like, do I even get to vote? Makes another joke, but he says, I need your help. And I love that really quick scene when they drive up to the little barricade, and then Lady J spins the car around, and you got Bruce in the back. I just love that. Saw that in the trailer, I was like, that alone sells the movie for me. It's a very quick scene, but very well done. You okay? Yeah, you okay? Yeah, my cholesterol is a little high. But I really wish that Die Hard 5 had been this good. Or almost this good. But Bruce Willis wasn't underused in the movie, I don't think. He was in it just enough. We first saw him almost an hour into the movie when the Joes go and find him, go to his home. And then he shows up at the end. And, yeah, this movie gets a lot done. Destro, almost forgot about that. So in Storm and Cobra, when they rescue Destro, rescue Destro. So when Storm rescues, when he breaks out Cobra, you know, they leave Destro and the place gets blown up. I understand, you know, different director, different direction. But now it just seems like having Destro in the first movie was like a complete waste. You know? Because he just gets blown up in this one. So I figured they'd just leave him and walk away and be like, we'll be back for you later. We decide what to do with you. But instead, yeah, he just gets blown up. But like I said, though, I understand. It's just too bad. It was kind of a waste. Anyways, I called this movie Superb, Stupendous, Superbus. I really liked the first movie, so this one was another great G.I. Joe entry. I'm excited to see what they're going to do for the third one. At the end, they kind of hinted that Joe and Roadblock, you know, might be joining up again, teaming up again. That would be cool to see. But I wonder, you know, if they have a different director for the third one, or even if they use John again, are they going to replace some characters? Who knows? Because you don't want to get bored with characters, you know. But yeah, I guess we'll find out. So let's see, March 2013. I could see a sequel happening. I don't know if they want to wait 2 years. It's already 4 years between the first movie and this one. So maybe March of 2015. Something tells me we could see one as early as like a year from now. Maybe even next summer. Could have like Days of Future Past, Captain America 2, G.I. Joe 3. We'll see how this movie performs. One of my recent podcasts, I talked about the box office. Made like 15 mil opening day domestically, and 41 mil also domestically. So I think it's going to make its budget back. This weekend will certainly be a good time to make some money. I don't think there are any big releases coming up. Not until maybe the end of this month or the beginning of next month. Of course, next month is Movie May. Really looking forward to that. But yeah, check out this movie. 3D, I mean, the tickets, if you can afford them, definitely. I mean, it's an experience. But otherwise, I'd say definitely check this out in theaters. 2D, IMAX, IMAX 3D, 2D, 3D, IMAX, whatever. I definitely buy this movie for as much as $10 or $11, you know, when it comes out on home video. Great sequel, great action-packed movie, good performances. The script was good. And a lot of the reviews I read and watched, I mean, some of them are pretty inaccurate, surprisingly. I don't know if people had a tough time following this movie, but there's some events that happen. It's like, oh, Bruce Willis is barely in it. It's like, no, he gets good screen time. Destro isn't in it. Actually, he is. So little stuff like that. So I say for G.I. Joe 3, replace Flint, or at least train that guy to move his eyebrows. I don't know if he went to the Channing Tatum School of Acting or what, but I hate to bash, but you know, you get paid a lot of money. It's like, could you show some facial expressions at least, you know? Show that you care. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave some video responses. I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. Great sequel. Even a great standalone movie, because they do quite a bit of exposition. So even if you haven't seen the first movie, you know, you can always watch that after. But, yeah, just a fantastic movie. Everything I wanted it to be. Wanted to like it, loved it. Check it out in theaters now. Thank you very much for listening. And I will talk to you later in real 3D.